All right, everyone, welcome to the OESL weekly recap. Evan Lockhart here, also known as Gentleman in the Discord. I got David, aka Centurion, however you want to call him. We are kind of just doing our board. We're a couple board members talking about this week's matchups, recap of previous events, the weekly matchups, and then maybe some patch changes for some games. Just kind of all around general recap for the league. And this is our first one, so bear with us. Hopefully, I don't embarrass myself too much, but um, so that's kind of what this is. David, I think you're going to go into the recaps of week one. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through the standings here for Rocket League this week and talk about just looking at getting some more stats in. You look at Class 1A, we have four top teams as we would after the first week. Oklahoma Christian Academy, Poto, Atoka, and Dove Science Academy. And in 2A, we have five teams that have risen to the top: Broken Arrow, Midwest City, Jinx, Moore, and Noble. And then in middle school, we have Cushing, Waller, and Longfellow up at the top so far this season. Um, if we're looking at, we're going to look at kind of some of next week's matchups. In 2A, we're going to have, looks like Midwest City and Bixby. We have a lot of unknown teams in the field this year. The one returning team that is Noble that finished third last season. Broken Arrow is usually pretty good, so we may have a pretty good matchup here. Moore was excellent last year as well. So they have a team that's going to threaten to try and take that top spot, and maybe newcomer Bixby, they're a tough opponent as well. So we're going to start to see things kind of pan out here in 2A as we get to know some of these new teams. And in 1A, for next week's matchups, you can see here the game of the week, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, is going to be OCA and Poto. And then we'll also have the matchup of Atoka versus Dove Science Academy, Lexington and Holbert, and Buffalo Valley versus Holdenville. So, um, again, with these, we're just going to know more and more as the season goes on, of who's going to be rising to the top more permanently.
And we need to make sure we're entering stats, right? So
Yeah,
I think we only had one team enter stats for this last week.
we did. If we go into 2A, we know that the goals leader right now is Noble High School, but we don't know, um, you know, who that actually is. So Crucella and Noble right now has 12 goals. Apollo with 6 and Blizzy with 2. And of course, no one else has any goals. So right now there's one team as the stats leaders. So we'd like to see more of this data so we can start handing out awards to some of these players like goal leader and by awards, just some of the digital awards here on League OS. So yeah, we'd like to see more stats entered. We're gonna put out some videos here in the coming days of how to do this with Rocket League. If you upload the replay files that Rocket League generates, then it'll kind of have be an auto entered kind of thing. So
So you don't have to do
um,
the tedious thing of entering each stat line, but you just got
correct.
to save and upload your replay file.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you just got to match up the player's name in League OS to the game data. Um, so yeah, it's just a drop down in a lot of cases. So that would be helpful. And it'd be good for kind of teams to come in looking at the standings and knowing what kind of teams are coming up against. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So you said game of the week OCA versus Poto in the 1A.
that's correct.
That'll be a good,
Jing,
exciting match.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, yeah. And here's the game of the week from last week on the RDS Media Twitch, which they do the games of the week for us.
Yeah, we're very thankful for them, and they're going to be doing a podcast as well. Um, Highlight more of the teams than what we're going to go into here, but probably some good data. I think it's supposed to release every 2 weeks. So, um, do you want to go ahead and move on to Valorant here?
Yeah.
And
Next up is Valorant. And here in Valorant in Class 1A, we have Salina, Sequoia, John Marshall, Caney, and Shoto leading the pack in Class 1A right now. In Class 2A, we have Pryor, Jinx, Norman, Bishop Kelly, Owasso, Norman North, and more. Quite a few teams here in Valorant this year in 2A. Um, and there is not a middle school division currently in varsity
Yeah,
for Valorant.
we haven't had a lot of interest in that, but maybe soon. Last week, this is the game of the week here with Stillwater High School versus Norman North. Norman North really swept the field with it. um, but as the season progresses, due to the Swiss format, we will get a lot more competitive matches. As the season progresses. I know in the future matchups for Valorant, um, Broken Arrow versus Deer Creek is kind of the one that I wanted to highlight. I don't necessarily think that's the game of the week this week from RDS Media, but I know last year they won, I think 13-8. Uh, that being Deer Creek, I think. Um, so it'll be a close matchup again this year, is what I'm anticipating. We'll see.
But this week's game of the week, as of right now, unless something changes, will be Norman versus Jinx. And they haven't been notified yet, so something could change. And if so, we could end up with any of these top teams. We'll always pick a top team as a game of the week. So from either division, honestly. So if
Yeah,
we get one, yeah,
Broken Arrow. Sorry, I'm just going to confirm my
yeah,
stats that I said
sure.
earlier. Broken Arrow won 13-8 against Deer Creek last year. So um, both top tier teams. So go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. It's just gonna show some of the matchups for next week for 1A in Valorant. So there may be some good matches here as well. Again, we don't know a lot about some of these teams as they are. Um, we didn't see a lot of these matchups last season, so some all new matchups, and we're gonna start to have um, some of the better teams rise to the top, and those teams will play each other as they rise up. So
Yeah, newcomer John Marshall. I think they played 2A last year and their
they did.
attendance dropped, so they actually got dropped down to 1A this year. So they are probably a strong favorite this year, I would think, but only
Yeah, a
time
lot
will
of those
tell.
bubble teams end up being the favorite. I think last year Valorant was won by Class and SAS Northeast, and they moved up to 2A this year, so their enrollment increased. So yeah, just those bubble teams a lot of times are going to be the favorite in the lower class, but you never know. Do you know who won in 1A last year? Did you
No,
see
I can
in
check real
Valorant?
quick.
Okay.
1A playoffs.
While he's looking that up, RDS Media is the Twitch stream you need to follow. It's in our streaming channels. Their game of the week will show up automatically there every week. But if you just go to twitch.tv/RDS Media or go to Twitch and just search for RDS Media all in one word, and it should be the first search item. So,
Yeah, so we had Class and SAS coming home with first, like you said, then Collinsville.
okay,
Collinsville was actually the 1 seed, but they got second last year, and then Sequoia came in third.
okay. Well, and unfortunately, Collinsville coming in 0-1 this year, but it's on a forfeit. So we'll see if, as they play, if they rise back up to the top. So we would like to see that happen. So next up is Marvel Rivals, which is a new game title, right? So we don't have a lot of historical data to go off of, and there's a lot more teams here in this. As you can see, we have quite a few teams there at the top. We try to compare this to Overwatch, but really this isn't a game that you can totally compare to that. So it's going to be kind of all new for us as we go through this season. Um, a decent amount of new stats put in here, but um, a lot of familiar faces in both at the top: Salina, Fort Towson, Sequoia, Caney, Atoka, and then in 2A we have Jinx and Enid, Wasso, Noble, Yukon, and more. Southmore, Norman North, and Booker T all up there at the top. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. And then the middle school is a little smaller, but we have Edison and Bixby kind of leading the pack there in middle school varsity. Middle school varsity is a fairly new thing in the league, and so we're just trying to build up teams and make that a stronger competitive environment for middle schools in some of these game titles. Which the next two game titles we'll mention don't qualify for middle schools; they're mature titles, and Rainbow Six and Call of Duty. But
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about Marvel Rivals right now.
Right.
I'm excited to see the season play out. That's a very popular game right now. I know that in the professional side, I guess you could say, um, or semi-pro side, the game is pretty popular. It's dropped down a little bit in popularity, but it's still like being requested a lot for tournaments and such.
Yeah. So you can see a few of the matchups there for this week in 2A, and then
And David, if they want to find this
yeah,
information themselves, say we went through it too quick or something
yeah,
like that, they can go to what? Is it Edge?
yeah. It's oesl.edge.leagueos.gg. So if you just go to our main League OS page and add the word Edge in between OESL and League OS, it'll come up. This will eventually be our league's landing page once they finalize some of the programming behind it. It is a little buggy, but as you can see by the screens I'm going through, that there's a bit of a better interface, I feel like, than the version one, the old version that a lot of us still use. But eventually, this will be where we'll come to see our matchups. It's really a place for the public more so than the coaches. The coaches will go to dashboard. Um, but yeah, so we're looking at a few matchups for 1A this week and rivals as well. So really looking forward to this rival season and seeing how this all pans out. And again, stats entries a key. A lot more people are entering stats. It looks like in rivals, which is really good. We're glad to see that. So
And coaches, David, correct me if I'm wrong, but
sure.
coaches, you can have a captain enter some of the stats for you, right? Or is that not true?
That's correct. In every season, we do enable the captains, and you can even designate a stats keeper on your team, whether that's an adult, a coach, or maybe you've got a bench player that you want, that's into the game enough to do the stats entry, someone you trust. But we just it's all there's two coaches involved here, you know what I mean? So you've got to look out for it yourself and just raise a dispute if someone's entered something incorrectly. But just like with traditional sports, there's someone hired. Sometimes it's a student, sometimes it's an adult to sit down there courtside at, say, a basketball game, and they're writing down the stats during the game. It's kind of what separates this in our minds, I think, from just competitive play versus just kind of playing ranked at home. So we want to see stats and see these kids get recognized. A college coach can't really tell much if there's nothing there. So we want them to be able to look at these stats pages and see what kind of players they're looking at coming towards them in college or the pro scene.
Yeah, it's crucial to the portal. It's
Hmm.
crucial for these kids to get recognized for the next step. So,
Yeah.
um, even if they got to enter the stats themselves, it's super important.
Yep. Um, so I think the next game up is Rainbow Six, which now it's Rainbow Six Siege X. So on this, we do have some historical matchups potentially in this, but right now at the top of 2A is Bixby, Jinx, Norman North, and Broken Arrow. And in 1A, we have Union City, Sequoia, Wayne, and Cash. Cash coming in the reigning champs. They're coming in fourth right now. I'm trying to figure out which stat line caused that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and we're
so
we're
they're
looking for we're looking forward to that matchup of Union City and Cash.
yeah,
Um,
that's definitely I think Union City has returned most everybody, and I would assume Cash is too by the 1-0. So versus Winniewood. So
yeah,
um,
and to kind of piggyback off that, like you said, Cash is returning champs. Union City, they're the runner up from last year. We're looking for that matchup. I don't think it's this week, but I think Cash is
no,
playing Wayne,
yeah,
which Wayne did end up losing to Cash last year, but maybe Wayne has a little bit revamped roster or more experience this year because they did 7-0 their opponent from week one. So that's we're looking forward to that matchup. It won't be part of the game of the week, but that's kind of where I'm focusing my attention.
yeah, agreed. So we're gonna move on to Call of Duty, last but not least, and this one with it being 3 games, have to look at. Yeah, I think we need to fix our tie breaks a little bit. That's why there's the 1, 2, 3, and 3 instead of everyone being tied for first right here. But we've got Rock Creek, Kearney Noble, and Chelsea at the top. Um, Call of
Couple
Duty's been a tough one.
Yeah, last year it wasn't varsity. I think we only had
Yeah.
6 teams sign up, and about halfway through, we had one of the teams drop, which is unfortunate. But things happen. So
Yeah.
we every year we kind of try to offer it to see who's gonna come up. We've had a couple people drop this year so far, but still looking around 8 teams.
Yeah,
So
even with the drop, we've gained 2 teams at least, it looks like. So,
yeah, and Kearney and Rock Creek is kind of my eye for Call of Duty this year, or I said this year, this week too. Carney, their coach, I'm friends with. He's a Call of Duty guy, so I anticipate he knows how to play, he knows how to coach. Call of Duty is one of those ones of, well, you just shoot. It can't be that hard to practice, but there's a lot of times that you got to practice different things and shooting bots and so forth. And then Rock Creek, they 3-0'd, I think it was
it was
Cash
Cash, yeah,
week 1. So, that's
which
I wouldn't
Cash has
necessarily
been
say it's like an
historically good, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, they've played
yeah,
Call of Duty for a long time.
yeah,
Rock Creek, they're a brand new program, so I'm kind of excited, for them to try to make a name for themselves, and if that's in Call of Duty, that's in Call of Duty, and like I said, that's my matchup, that's the game to watch out for.
yeah. So we're definitely excited about that. So yeah, moving on from that, is some patch notes. We kind of want to cover, it seems like every week, right? We've got some new patch coming out. It's adding some functionality or multiple functionalities to a game or a character. And we get the question asked every week, like, well, hey, when do we, when can we play this character? Or what's the deal with this new rule, right? So, or this new mechanic. So this week, the only thing we have is Marvel Rivals. They released a patch this week, and we do have a new hero, a new Vanguard hero, which is the tank in Marvel Rivals. Angela, I think it's from the she's from the uh, what is it? The Thor universe, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, she is released on 9/12, so she will be playable October 2nd by all the teams. So that Thursday, October 2nd, I believe I have that correct. Is it being a Thursday? It is. So the week that you play October 2nd, you can utilize that character. They also added slow walk to PC, which isn't what I'm seeing isn't a huge mechanic change, but it's how you sneak. And so, what did you say earlier? Like all the
Yeah.
sound players out
Yeah,
there.
if you're, probably won't use the phrase a lot of people use, but if you're
Yeah,
turn your volume up all the way and listening for someone trying to flank you, um, this is a good quality update for that.
yeah,
I think Invisible Woman was kind of a big one. She's invisible, but you could still hear her. So what's the point? Um, in Marvel Rivals, sound isn't like everything, but you got to watch out for ultimates and stuff like that. So the sneak mechanic, I guess you could say, and I don't know if it's necessarily for all of PC or just keyboard and mouse or controller. I don't know if it was a
yeah.
feature
It
before.
wasn't. Yeah, it just said in the notes here. When I looked through everything that would affect competitive, it was under the new systems and just had slow walk added. Slow walk to PC version. So I feel like it's to PC in general. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know how that mechanic was only available to console and that was okay. But hey, now everyone has it. So
Better late than never.
yeah, better late than never. And then the other one that will probably affect us more heavily is something we'll have to discuss as a board still. So it's kind of out in the wild now without any kind of recourse. But as a coach, look out for it. Um, I would say you probably until we have a decision, since it didn't exist before, you wouldn't want to turn it on right now.
Well, that feature being auto pause. I don't know
Correct.
if you mentioned that. So
I didn't, yeah. So disconnect pause in a custom game or tournament room, the host can now enable auto pause if a player disconnects. While that sounds like a good thing to turn on, it could also be open for abuse. So as a board, we need to kind of discuss um, how to include that into the rules, whether that's a setting we have everyone turn on all the time or not. So
yeah, and something as a board, discussing a rule like this, you got to think of how it's going to be abused. Um, you don't want people to abuse it, but if there's a way to abuse it, people are going to abuse that. If whether they're alt F4ing or unplugging their Ethernet cable, um, you don't you got to think of those kind of things and try to avoid so that it's an even playing field and um, there's competitive integrity within the match.
Yeah, and heading off from that, that's really the only patch notes this week that have come out that affected league play. The next we'll head into dashboard where you either love it or you either hate it, but it is the new way the coaches will be able to utilize League OS in the future. This will be what the mobile app is built on as it comes out in the future. It's what the desktop app is built on. So um, they're definitely always refining this stuff, but right now we're having you all register for Smash Brothers through that. So we have you going to the cross swords at the top, and then under registrations in our league, you should see Smash Brothers, and you should see all the different regions. And the nice thing is, it's going to tell you why you can't register for certain ones. You see that our school is in the Southwest, so I can register. This is why you hate dashboard, and I understand that. The 100 teams that I have inactive, you can see all those. We'll help you through registration. Just let us know. Um, but you're able to register now for the North Central, which is the first one coming up at Tulsa Edison. That's the North Central regional seating event. The Southwest regional seating event at Wynnewood is also currently open for registration. The Southeast regional at East Central University is also open for registration right now for all the Southeast teams. The fall middle school West regional at Robin Hill Elementary in Norman is open for business, and so is the Northeast regional, which will be in Kellyville. Those are coming up pretty soon. Everyone definitely wants to in the North Central needs to get registered ASAP for the Edison one because that happens this week. Is it this Friday? Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep, it's happening this Friday at Tulsa Edison. So if you want to see overall, we only open up registration 2 weeks before the event. This just prevents like people signing up months in advance and then forgetting they signed up and not showing up. And it also is a good reminder 2 weeks out that, oh, it's time. I need to lock in and get my transportation if I haven't already. However, if you're a school that needs that transportation 5 weeks out or so, we've got this blinding sun in my face of a calendar that will show you. We have it months out in advance of the ones we have. You will notice an absence in Northwest. We're trying to get there. We do even have some spring stuff, so get your travel requests in for the spring if you need to. We have some opens down there, but for now, definitely be paying attention to these fall dates. We try to label them with the region so you know what it is. We don't label the middle school ones so you don't get them confused, but you can see that they're the West, and then here's the East Regional for middle school. So um, look out for this. Plan ahead by mid next week. We should have some dates for the Northwest to get on there. So they may be more in October because we don't want to spring them on you with less than 2 weeks notice. So um, just be looking out Northwest schools for those. And remember, if you go to the bottom, if you're like, well, I don't even know if I'm a Northwest school, scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see some how the seasons are laid out for high school. You'll see the high school regions, the schools that are in those. If you see yours is missing, just let us know. We'll add it. And then middle school, you see some of their how their seasons laid out, and then you'll see the East and the West. And middle school, it's new for you this year. You need to show up for just your West or East one in the fall. In the spring, as you can see, you'll have some opens where you can show up to any of the three or all three. So, um, you have anything to add to Smash on all
Yeah,
that? It's kind of yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So reminder, you can bring up to 5 students, minimum one.
Yes.
Obviously, you don't show up if you're bringing 0 students.
Yeah.
So you can bring up to 5. If one qualifies, then or advances,
Hmm.
um, then you can bring 5 more. Or if one of them, you can always bring 5, whether you have 0 qualified or advanced, or all 5 or 10. So you can always bring up to 5. Um, I know it's a little bit different structure this year as far as advancing and qualifying. If you have questions, open a ticket or ask in the general. Um, and if you go to your seating, to attend the regional, you have to go to the seeding, and to go to the area, you have to qualify or advance in the regional double elimination. Kind of think of the seeding as this is practice. I want to get the nerves from my players out of being at an event because it can be stressful. It can be a little nerve wracking. So kind of think of it as practice, and then you can move on to the regional once you've attended the seeding, and then you know hopefully you got all the nerves worked out and you can play to your absolute best there. Um, David, how do they find this calendar? I think they can go to our website, osl.org/calendar, and they can scroll down and find it.
They can find it there. Yeah.
And the Discord, I think, as well.
Yeah, in the Discord, there is a calendar section towards the very top of all the channels lists under handbook and announcements. There's a calendar channel. So you can also head there and find that calendar there. And it's a live calendar. As you can see here, I'm on the website Canva. So as soon as I get dates, I put them on here and then they show up for you all immediately. So
Yeah, and it live updates on the website as well
yeah,
through
exactly.
embedding. So,
Yeah.
um, any final thoughts or
No, I'm just really looking forward to the season. Looking forward. We have new games, new schools, new competition. So just looking forward to seeing what everyone has and has to offer, competition wise, and see who rises to the top. And um, can't wait for playoff season. I always love playoff season. How about you?
yeah, I don't have a lot of closing remarks, but just
Yeah,
we're here to support you.
yeah,
This is kind of why we're putting this video out or podcast, however you want to refer to it.
yeah,
We're here to help. We're here to answer your questions. We want to have good, customer service and provide the best service we can. Um, so if you have any thoughts, suggestions for this, let us know. Put in the Discord. If you want to be featured in this, you want to come in and give your thoughts, we can probably add you. It's pretty easy.
yeah,
Um, so we'll try to do this once a week and just have some general knowledge. I mean, I know David and I we're not going to be up to date on every single team and have all the information um, and all the backstory, but we're going to try our best and just get this started. So,
yeah.
well, everybody, good luck, have fun this season, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Yep. Bye.